Hello, my name is John Coppola, and today we'll be talking about the cost of malnutrition. Malnutrition is everywhere, and it's hard to deny that it's a huge issue in the United States and the world today. Malnutrition is defined as the lack of proper nutrition, caused by not having enough to eat, not eating enough of the right things, or being unable to use the food that one does eat, whether it's due to economic, social, or environmental issues. Economically, someone may not have the money to afford proper nutrition or food to accommodate their nutrition needs. Socially, they may not have the education or desire to consume the proper nutrition. And environmentally, because they may not have the availability or lack food security to the proper nutrition their body deserves. An article called The Cost of Malnutrition in the United States by Stephen Daniels highlights the importance of this issue of malnutrition. Now, malnutrition, just like everything in life, comes at a cost. People may not have the money to consume the right nutrition, but when they become malnourished, it actually comes at a great cost to everyone involved. Malnutrition is often a second diagnosis when it comes to serious conditions seen worldwide, some including coronary heart disease, stroke, depression, and various types of cancer. This malnutrition is actually a huge role in the development of these diseases. This all comes at a cost and keeps increasing every time a new diagnosis is made from the backbone of malnutrition. The American Journal of Dietetic Association says 54% of patients that were admitted with malnutrition, and most is undiagnosed. 31% declined during the stay. This shows a little more than half the patients admitted for any type of problem have malnutrition as well. The article's purpose is to educate about this issue and how expensive this condition can be, varied from state to state, while giving readers a realization that this is a serious problem that needs to be addressed. The article is also spreading awareness to get readers to help actively in promoting the importance of nutrition, while in turn trying to save the lives of everyone and ultimately save money for everyone involved in the process. The question the article is trying to answer is, what is the cost of malnutrition? The cost of malnutrition can be tricky as it can vary from state to state, each state having different demographics giving it advantages and disadvantages towards this issue. Some states or even counties may have more access to proper nutrition or lack the access. When examining the differences between the states, one has to keep in mind the size of each state, as Connecticut, for example, has a much lower population than, say, California, which means it'll expend less money for malnutrition. This is why we must look at the price per capita, which is the average income per person in any given area, which, as stated before, is a huge factor when being malnourished, as some people may not have the funds to afford the cost that comes with proper nutrition. Solutions for malnutrition are still being examined, as there is no one solution to such a huge issue. The article poses a broad solution of emphasizing nutrition more as a whole, but much more is needed to actually tackle this issue. Some research was done examining the issue between state to state. The study was done observing patients diagnosed with different diseases. The conditions that were part of the study were patients that had stroke, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, coronary heart failure, breast cancer, dementia, musculoskeletal disorders, depression, and colorectal cancer. Each disease had a secondary diagnosis of malnutrition, which affects each diagnosis to a great degree. Each patient must have lower than 90% ideal body weight, which was used to diagnose malnutrition. Patients of all ages were put into groups: under 18, 19 to 45, 46 to 55, 56 to 64, and above age 65. The study also broke each group into male and female categories, while also grouping them into a race of white, black, or other. This ultimately gave the study 30 groups of patients that were examined. State population was also put into consideration via the U.S. Census. The study examined the average amount of money each condition cost. So between the age, sex, race, population, and price per condition, results were made regarding the amount of money spent per capita, and in this case, each state's expenditure towards the disease. The results showed that Utah had the lowest amount per capita, $6, while Washington, D.C. was $65 per capita. This means that each individual spent $36 in Utah for malnutrition. Washington, D.C. spent $65 per malnutrition each year. This may not seem like a lot, but when added together, the cost is quite large. Findings were done for each state, with California spending the most amount of money at $1.7 billion annually, and Wyoming with $25 million annually being the lowest. They also found that the average per capita was $48. The big number comes when you add all the states' spending together. The study found that $15.5 billion were spent annually just on malnutrition. Now it seems like a lot, doesn't it? They also found that the elderly population carried most of the weight spending, as they were not as nutritionally sound as the younger groups. The answer to this problem is quite complicated. As you can see, malnutrition is very expensive and more than once thought. We need to reduce the impact of the disease-associated malnutrition, which may not be that easy. The study says that nutrition emphasis is one answer. Policymakers and healthcare decision makers need to realize this issue and take it into consideration when making decisions. Emphasis on education and clinical nutrition support will be key in this. In all, nutrition awareness needs to be increased and put as a priority to help improve the health of each patient while also lowering costs for everyone. In practice, nutrition emphasis, as said before, will be key. Taking nutrition as a priority rather than as an addition to another care plan method will be a start on this journey to reducing this issue. Pushing for more education in the community will help stop issues from occurring in the first place and give everyone an idea of how big this issue is and how it can be avoided entirely. Starting early in classrooms will help children understand early so that years to come this issue can slowly start to decline. Providing more access to nutritious foods and education on how to purchase cheaper and nutritious foods are a start. The answer is to avoid malnutrition altogether rather than treating it when it's already a problem. Some improvements that could be done to the study in an article as a whole are that it could use more research and studies to back their claim. One research study is a start, but more will likely help make the claim stronger. During the study, each disease could have been looked at independently to see which was of more concern than the next. This will help understand where exactly we should focus our. On the flip side of the study, how much does for all this education and promotion of this issue? Will the solutions that are set in place cost more than the actual problem? Will the people even be responsive to this issue? Will the pros outweigh the cons? And lastly, should we focus on certain states more than others? Which should we focus on the most? These are just some improvements and some bias in this article, and we should really look at the entire picture rather than just what was said. When thinking about if this article should be published, you gotta say the information given is accurate and it has credible research to back the claim. Although more research should be done in the future, this will help open the eyes to a big issue in the world. Although solutions that may be set in place could cost money, the benefits are for the people, and that's what it's really all about. In conclusion, malnutrition, as said throughout, is a cause for concern. The money spent on malnutrition is a huge amount for the country, state, and the people. Anything done to lower this cost will be a start, but the first problem is getting people to realize how big of a problem it is. So let's start spreading the word. Thank you.